Well, guys, I got a comment today from a viewer on my other channel, to be from Appalachia, telling me that I need to get a real job, whatever that is. I mean, I worked for many, many years at real jobs. I worked at factories, I worked at sawmills, I worked military contractor. I've done all kinds of different things in my lifetime and worked many, many years. But I haven't worked an actual job in 15 years because I've been self employed. And a lot of people don't understand what self employed actually is. They think that if you're self employed, you don't have a real job. And it doesn't make any sense to me because, being self employed isn't easy. You have to be the boss, you have to be the employee, you have to keep your own books, you have to pay your own taxes. I mean, it is definitely not as easy as a lot of people think that it is. I've been doing it for 15 years, and my main income has been from my books. I have 5 books published. My main income is from my books. It's not from YouTube. It's not from my website. It's from my books. It's on Amazon.com. Look up MD Creekmore, and you'll find my books on Amazon. My book, The Preparedness Guide to Surviving in the World Before You Know It. I wrote that book about 5 or 6 years ago. Probably about 7 or 8 years ago, actually. I have to go look, actually. But I worked every single day on that book for hours. And it took me almost 7 months to get that book written. I worked so much and my back hurt. My rear end hurt from sitting so much in the chair typing. My fingers hurt, my carpal tunnel hurt, my neck hurt, everything hurt. It definitely isn't easy. And I've done that, 5 times. I have 5 books written. And if you look at the articles I've wrote for my website, I have written hundreds of articles on my website, and it took hundreds of hours writing, researching, actually getting out and doing, taking photographs. It's not as easy as people think that it is, but if people think that if you aren't working at a factory, you're not working at a real job. You don't have an employer, you're not working at a real job. When in reality, doing what I do and being self-employed in general is actually more of a job than working at a job for an employer. Because you have to do everything. You have to think of everything that needs to be done. You have to come up with ideas. You have to put those ideas into practice. You have to market. You have to do everything. But people think that it's easy. Just like here on YouTube. I have made over 1,000 videos on YouTube. That's a lot of videos. And people think that, they say a video that you post and it takes 15 minutes to watch, say, for example. So they think that it took 15 minutes to make that video. When in reality, it may have took several hours to make that video. You have to come up with the idea. You have to actually shoot the video, which may take several hours to do. You have to edit the video, upload the video, you have to do reply to comments and things like that. I mean, what you see maybe 10 or 15 minutes, but that 10 or 15 minute video may have took several hours to put in place. Even a couple of days, depending on the video. It's not as easy as people think that it is. People think, that if you work online, if you're self-employed, that you don't have a real job. You need to get a real job. And that really irritated me, to be honest about it, because I know how difficult that it is for people that work self-employed. It's very difficult, and most people just don't realize it. And I think that's an important part of prepping, because you need being self-employed, having a way to earn a living without an employer is one of the big things about prepping and survival and homesteading, I think. If you go back and look at Kurt Saxon, he published a lot of articles and everything back in the day. And he was one of the founders of the prepping movement, the survival movement. He published A Survivor, but he also published, Shoestring Entrepreneur, which was about being self-employed. Because it's just that important. Being self-employed is very important. And if you can figure out something you can do to be self-employed, then that is a huge leap towards self-reliance. And things has changed, since Kurt Saxon was putting out articles and videos and things like that. We have, the internet now, so you can be self-employed, online. However, having a backup is very good, I think, because you never know when, the offline, the internet is going to go down. Things are going to happen to change. The algorithm is going to change things and make it more difficult to make a living here online. So having something that you can do offline is very good. Woodworking, blacksmithing, auto mechanics. In my case, gunsmithing work, I can do that. I can also do carpentry work. I'm not really a great mechanic, but I can do, basic maintenance. My main things are gunsmithing work and carpentry. I'm pretty good at both of those. I can also grow, a lot of food in small spaces, so I can provide food for people. So having, a backup employment that doesn't rely on, the internet, doesn't rely on the grid, and having the tools to do that with, is extremely important in my opinion. But a lot of people don't have that. They think the internet's going to stay up forever, and it may, but it may not. So it's important to have, a backup employment strategy. And like I said, I can do, several different things. I can do gunsmithing work. I can do carpentry work. I can do reloading. I can do several different things that can be made into, a career after the grid goes down, for example. And I have the tools to do that with. So you need to figure out what you can do, what you want to do, what you're interested in, and you need to learn, how to do that. Put the tools back and supplies to do that job with, because you never know, when the grid's going to collapse, when the internet's going to collapse. But the internet is a good way to make a living while it's still up. If you can make knives, for example, you can go online, put a website, YouTube channel, you can sell those. If you can make, leather holsters, leather sheaths, you can go online, show how to do that. You can make videos about that, put up a website, you can sell that. If you can do crafts, lots of things can be put online that you can sell to make a living from. And you don't need to have, a job. You don't need to have an employer. You don't need to get up every day and go to work for some asshole that's going to pay you very small salary and treat you like dog shit to actually have a job. Self-employment is a job. Anyway, if you liked the video, give it a big thumbs up. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video, hopefully.